Morning guys, so it's Saturday morning and I've got an awful lot planned today. I say an awful lot planned, I've got loads and loads and loads of things that I'd love to get done. I'm not sure how many I'll get done, but there's so many things that this weekend it would be amazing if I got done. So obviously as we speak I'm kneading sourdough. This is going to be 4 loaves of sourdough which will be used in the week, and I want to slaughter and butcher at least 1 chicken, but maybe 2. If I do that, chickens are a funny animal. They take about 48 hours for rigor to pass. So if I get that done today, I still won't be able to eat that until Monday. Otherwise it'd just be really tough. So I'd like to get that done. I also want to make a trip to a nursery, a garden nursery, pick up a couple of plants. I've had a few plants fail that I want to replace. I need to record some podcasts. And tomorrow it would be awesome if I managed to do a YouTube live for the first time in a few weeks. So this video won't be going out until tomorrow, Sunday. So if you're watching this, be aware that just a few hours after this is released at noon on Sunday, there will be a live stream, live from the homestead. Right, I'm gonna get back to my sourdough. And then after this, I've also got another load of sourdough discard that I want to make either some crackers or some pita breads or pizza doughs or something else with. So I've got plenty to be getting on with, and we'll just see how much we get done this weekend. There's a load of other things that escape me temporarily. Oh, that's right, I've got 2 joints of pork in the oven. They're the last 2 joints of pork that I'm going to be eating for a little while. They're only small ones. I've got a joint of belly pork and a loin. Both of those are in the oven now. I'm not sure what I'm doing with them or when I'm going to eat them, but they needed cooking. They've been in the fridge for a few days. I took out like 5 or 6 little joints all at the same time. They've been defrosted in the fridge. I've already eaten 2 or 3 of them. These are the last 2. Like I say, they need cooking. I'll probably eat the belly pork today, and I'm not sure whether I'll eat the loin tomorrow or whether I'll just make something else with it and then fridge and freezer it or whatever. We'll see. We'll just see how it goes. So it'd be great if I could also use this time at the weekend to increase my stock of sort of self-sufficient ready meals, if you like. We've already got a couple of stews in the freezer and a couple of pork griots in the freezer, so it would be great if we could add to that list at some point this weekend. So again, we'll see how we go. I'm not going to beat myself up over it one way or another. So I'm going to pop this in a bowl now, leave that to prove for a few hours. So a couple of other things that I wanted to do this weekend, if I get time, will be I want to make some bone broth, some stock basically from some bones that I've got saved. And I'd also really like to collect some more pears and plums, and I'd like to make some more plum sauce, some more pear sauce, some more pear juice, but also dry some pears. I absolutely love dried pears, and we've got quite a bit of dried fruit, but at the moment we're mostly down to apples. I've eaten all the dried pear and I need to make some more because I much prefer that to the dried apple. And that's really going to help me in the week when I start making packed lunches again and you know, give me that little bit of variety. So that's, well, hopefully I'll get that done this weekend, but I'm not bothered. We'll see. We'll get done what we get done, won't we? So I'm on my way out to collect my brunch, which is going to be some sweet corn. And I really enjoy sweet corn on its own, just as a meal. And, you know, for a brunch or a lunch. In the evenings, for my evening meal, then I would absolutely have it as a vegetable, you know, with other things. But I'm quite comfortable with it just on its own as a meal, which is great. It's really high in fibre, vitamins, minerals. It's a fantastic, rich source of nutrients. And it tastes great. Now, I personally don't think you need butter on it. If it's really fresh and sweet, it's delicious. Now, normally I might put some butter on it as well, because things taste even better with butter, don't they? Garden's coming along great. So many of the brassicas that got knocked back earlier, they're still coming back. We've started harvesting some little broccoli heads, which is great. A whole world of cabbage, sauerkraut and coleslaw is all opening up to me now. So the leeks are coming on great. They're not quite there yet, but these sweet corn plants have done really well. So I'm going to harvest probably 3 ears, and that's going to be my lunch. And the goats love it too when I harvest sweet corn, because they get the bits that I'm not going to eat. So I try to do as much of my vegetable trimming outside as I can for a couple of reasons. The ultimate destination for almost all of our vegetable trimmings, you know, the bits we're not going to eat, the bits around the outside of sweet corn, for example, the ultimate destination for them is not the kitchen. You know, whatever they're going to be used as, they're going to end up going to either feed one of our animals or the compost. Well, both of those locations, or all of those locations, should I say, are closer to the vegetable garden than they are to the kitchen. So I try and trim as much of my vegetable trimmings as I can in the garden, which is one of the reasons why it's super, super handy to always have a knife on me, you know, because I can just quickly chop the bottom of the cobs and feed them to the goats, and the goats absolutely love them. Now, one of my ears is really poorly pollinated. I've no idea why. It's the first time it's ever happened to me. Looks all right there. Not so much there. So I'm going to cook it. I'm going to eat the bit that's done. And yeah, I'm not really sure why that's happened, because that was actually from the middle of my block of sweet corn. It wasn't even on the edge. Sweet corn is wind pollinated, which means it's not pollinated by insects that go in and go into a flower and take the pollen from one bit of a plant to another. It's actually pollinated by the wind, and that's why you don't plant sweet corn, usually if you're a gardener, in rows. You plant it in blocks so that all of the pollination can happen as the pollen falls from the plant and gets brushed onto other plants. It's really unusual, the location of that one, for it to be poorly pollinated, I think, but it is what it is. I'm not going to cry too much about it. That's the first one I've ever had like that. So sweet corn for lunch. Then I'm going to the garden centre. Then I'm coming back here, and probably be time to start the second proof on the sourdough. See how the day goes. So we've just been to the nursery, picked up a couple of plants for the garden. Nothing too exciting, just to replace a few things that didn't make it through this horrible spring that we had. And now I'm back, going up this ladder to get pears from that tree. So I got myself a bucket of pears. I'm going to slice some of them up, get them in the dehydrator, come back out, get some plums. By the time I've done that, it will definitely be time for me to get back to my sourdough. Alrighty, so got our pear in here, dehydrating. That's all full. Got our sourdough loaves on their second proof over here. So they've got to go in the oven in about 2 hours now. Our pork is on really, really slow, that belly pork, so that all the connective tissue and everything can break down, and that's going to just be delicious. So while all that's happening, I'm now going to go outside and process a couple of chickens. And I will do a really in-depth chicken processing video at some point, but this won't be it. The reason being, it's just quite an involved thing, and those of you who butcher animals will know, it's one thing doing it, it's quite another thing if you've got to do it and then also film it and kind of, work out where the camera's going to go and take the time to explain what you're doing as you go. And it's just a completely different thing, and I would just need a lot more time than I have today to do it properly. So I'll show you a little bit, I'm sure, but I'm not going to get too in depth with the whole process today. Okay, so I've got one chicken half processed, and I've still got to clean it up quite a bit inside, but he's basically there, ready for the oven. So this will now go in the fridge to allow rigour to set in and pass through, and obviously I'll clean him up inside. I've got one more to do. If you're wondering, the wings came off him. There's two things you might be wondering. Firstly, I skin generally rather than pluck, just for time, and the wings I take off and process separately. And because we basically, with these animals, there's hardly any meat on the wings of these birds, so I save that separately, and we use that with some of the other bits to make stock with, which again we'll use the bones of this animal for when we've eaten the meat. Right, one more to go, and then I'll be going in the house. So that's two cockbirds in there, and that probably weighs 4 kilograms, so that's a decent amount of meat there. We'll get this inside. I'll quickly just wash it, clean it, and then I'll put it in the fridge, and then that'll be ready to cook. It's Saturday today, so Monday. You want to allow 48 hours really for chickens for rigor to pass. It varies from animal to animal. I've never done rabbits, but I've heard they're even longer. So there you go, that is 1.9 kilograms of organic, free range, absolute top quality chicken, and it was a cock bird. So I don't know what that would cost in the shops, probably more than we'd be able to pay if we wanted to eat as much chicken as we do. So that's, yeah, a real result. Got 2 of these. There's number 1. And there's number 2. So we'll get, oh, it's not nearly as big, that one. Hang on then, let me weigh that first one again, because I was basing my weight on this one. This one's 1.9. I thought they were both about the same. 2.2 kilograms, this one. They're now ready to be used as roast. So I could break them down, of course, but we'll probably just roast them whole. They've got to sit and go through rigor now, which I'll do in the fridge. And then one will be dinner on Monday, and the other one will be in the freezer. Next up for me, I need to milk the goats. It's almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I've also got to go and pick up a little bit of goat feed. But before I do, I'm going to check on this pork. Now I've had this on really, really low, 105 degrees centigrade, which is what's allowed me to keep it in the oven for that long. But oh my goodness, that's going to be just... So it doesn't look delicious at the moment because none of the fat's crisped up. That's okay. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take the meat out of the oven. Now the belly is going to be so tender and delicious. And what I'm going to do, because none of the fat on the outside has been crisped up, but that's okay because I've got a plan in mind. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to cook hassleback potatoes with it, and they're going to want a fairly high heat. So I'm going to take this out of the oven now, I'm going to let it cool, I'm going to cut it into strips, and then it can go back in the oven with that high heat, which is going to crisp up the outside. At least that's the plan. And with regards to my loin, that's just perfect. And I'm going to let that cool down. That will go in the fridge, and I can use that for things like lunches, or I could dice it and put it in something else. Don't know what the plan is for it yet, but it'll have one. And I might even have a tiny little slice right now. And we'll obviously be saving this. Okay, Shannon Ward said on a previous video, how come your kitchen always looks so tidy? Well, I'm just judicious with the shots that I choose, but I don't have the option now. It's a bit of a mess, but I'm just getting you up to speed. I've already milked the goats. I haven't gone and got my goat food. I'm going to get that tomorrow now, but I'm just halfway through cooking my tea. So I'm going to talk to you about that, show you what I'm doing, and then next time you speak to me, I will probably be either eating it or have finished eating it. But we've got some hassleback potatoes here. Now, these guys have just been sliced up. They've had some pork fat on them and a little bit of salt. That's it. They're going in the oven, or they've actually been in the oven for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And they're going on 180 degrees C. I've got my belly pork here. Now, this has cooked on a really, really slow temperature and been left to rest and then sliced. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to bang it back in the oven, or in about 15 minutes I'll bang it back in the oven on maximum, and I'm trying to just crisp up that fat on the outside, and then I'll leave that in there for maybe 15 to 20 minutes to come up to heat. And then I'm having just some vegetables out the garden and plum sauce. The last of my plum sauce is in the fridge. I've got some more in the freezer, but the plum sauce you saw me make a few days ago, I'm having the last of that as my sauce, and it's going to be perfect. So here it is, my final meal of the day. So we've got some hassleback potatoes there, some beans and broccoli, and some belly pork. And we're going to have that with our plum sauce. Which for me goes on everything. And that is going to do me just right, I reckon. So I'm just going to try a little bit of everything. I think if it wasn't September, I might add a tiny bit more salt and pepper, mainly to the veg. Otherwise, that's perfect. Very happy. That's going to wrap this up for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you press that like button. Leave me a comment down below. And please, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, make sure you do that. Press that subscribe button and the bell. If you press the bell, then you'll get notified when I release new videos. Thanks for watching. So that's it. That's 11 days down. And I will speak to you tomorrow on my next recorded slot. I'm recording this Saturday. This is going out Sunday. I'll hopefully speak to you today for you guys, Sunday, at noon UK time, when I'll be doing a live video, a live stream for the first time in a little while. So thanks for watching, guys. Speak to you soon. Cheers. That is, how many days are we on? What's day?
Is it day 8?
11.
I think it might be 10. Okay.
It's 11 because the date yesterday was 10.
It is 11. It's the 11th.
I know.